Sure, one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal! Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. A very good evening, welcome to Premier League Live this Wednesday night as we have 5 games from the Premier League midweek fixtures for you this evening, and our feature game is an 8:15 kickoff from the Stadium of Light as Sunderland are having a high-flying season in their first back in the Premier League after 7 years, and they take on the champions, albeit not playing like champions, Liverpool at the minute, and defeated by Manchester City with those 2 late goals and that red card as well on Sunday. So a lot for Liverpool to focus on and a bit of chasing to do to those top 5 positions. Also this evening, 4 games that are already underway, kicked off at 7:30. Aston Villa taking on Brighton, that's goalless. It is Crystal Palace 1, Burnley 0. They kicked off a little later due to traffic delays, so Crystal Palace do lead, but it's only the 27th minute, and that one, a 10-minute delay to that one. Jorgen Strand Larsen with his first goal for Crystal Palace has given Burnley a deficit to try and overcome at Sellers Park. A comfortable lead for Manchester City at home against Fulham. Antoine Semenyo and Nico O'Reilly, the 2 scorers there, as Manchester City lead by 2-0. And it is goalless between Nottingham Forest and Wolves. Forest looking to respond to West Ham in the ultimately dropping points last night. And Spurs also losing. And if they can take advantage, it can be a really open relegation battle. We'll talk all about that as the night goes on, but a quick recap on last night's games. Chelsea drew 2-2 against Leeds at Stamford Bridge, albeit led by 2-0 did Chelsea. João Pedro and a Cole Palmer penalty gave them a 2-goal lead before Lucas Mecha and Noah Okafor then brought it all the way back for Leeds to 2-2. Before Cole Palmer missed an unbelievable chance to win the game for Chelsea late on. Ultimately a draw there. It was a home defeat for Everton as Bournemouth came to the Hill Dickinson and went with 3 points. It was a first half penalty that gave the Toffees the lead. Iliman Ndiaye converting on the 42nd minute to give Everton the advantage. But in the second half, January signing Rayan opened the scoring and got Bournemouth back on terms before Amin Adli added the second to make it 2-1 and ultimately the winning goal for Bournemouth. Everton were also down to 10 men, but that came after both goals were scored. Jake O'Brien was sent off straight red card after it was 2-1. Speaking of 2-1, it was a 2-1 away win for Newcastle away at Spurs. Spurs terrible at home, Newcastle terrible at away. One had to give, and it was Newcastle's away record that came out somewhat the better on the night. Malik Chow gave the Magpies the lead just on the verge of half-time. Archie Gray then levelled for Spurs to get them back into the game, but Jacob Ramsey not long after that gave Newcastle the lead once again, and ultimately a big away win for Eddie Howe's team, and another poor result for Spurs, and a result that has ended the tenure of Thomas Frank this afternoon. Spurs announcing he had departed and they have sacked their manager Spurs, so another hunt for a new manager. And also, well, it isn't going to be 5 wins in a row for Manchester United. They drew, but it could have been so easily a loss away at West Ham. Struggling West Ham side who are desperate for any sort of points to try and save themselves. Thomas Soucek with the goal on 50 minutes and what looked like it was going to be the winner in a pretty low-key game between West Ham and United last night. But Benjamin Šeško in the 96th minute scored the leveller to rescue Man United a point and ultimately keep them leading the charge in 4th place in the Premier League. It finished 1-1 at the London Stadium. A couple updates to bring you, actually. We have another goal at the Etihad. It's now 3-0 to Manchester City. Erling Haaland with the goal has made it 3 to the good for City. And Forest thought they'd taken the lead just a moment ago, but that goal has been ruled out, so it is still goalless. But full focus on our feature game at the Stadium of Light. It's Sunderland against Liverpool, an unbeaten at home Sunderland team. 7 wins, 5 draws from their 12 home games this season. They are on the verge of having one of the most incredible home seasons ever in the Premier League, and not including that they're a newly promoted team, shall we say the very least. Let's have a look at the Game of the Week stats. As I said, Sunderland are the only unbeaten side at home in the Premier League this season. Liverpool have just won one league game in any home or away in 2026. That came against Newcastle, where they won 4-1 last week. But of the 140 previous meetings between the sides, so they know each other pretty well over the years. Liverpool have won 66, Sunderland have won 41, and there have been 33 draws between the sides, including the reverse fixture, which ended 1-1 at Anfield. Talby opened the scoring before an own goal from Mukiele sent Liverpool level to rescue a point, ultimately in what was a run of a number of draws for Liverpool. This one tonight is going to be probably, you would probably say at the start of the season, nowhere near one of the toughest, but it certainly is after seeing Sunderland's home form this season. They've already held off City and Arsenal at the Stadium of Light this season, so if they can hold off those two, well, there's no doubt they can hold off anybody, and if not beat anybody at home. And Liverpool's record means they're, as inconsistent as any in the Premier League at the minute. Liverpool, I really don't know what team's going to show up from game to game, whether it be the Newcastle victory team or the team that continues to throw away the games late, including that defeat to Manchester City at the weekend. Let's have a look at the two teams for this one. Let's start with the home side when we have the details. There we go. Roofs starts in goal. A back four of Mukiele, Ballard, Alderete and Reynildo in a back four that has been so kind to Sunderland this season and one of the best defences in the Premier League. Siddiqui and Lefay take up midfield roles with Diarra, who scored twice in Sunderland's last home game. He's got the nod in midfield, as well as Trey Hume on the right, new signing Angulo off the left, and Brian Brobby continues up front. On the bench for the Black Cats, Elborg, Serkin, O'Nien, Gertruda, who almost joined Liverpool in the January window. He's on loan, of course, is Gertruda. Rigg, Talby, Mundell, Isidore and Mayenda make up the Sunderland bench. For Liverpool, Alisson continues in goal in his costly penalty mistake that ultimately handed Manchester City the winner in stoppage time at Anfield on Sunday. Another right back for Liverpool, Wataru Endo, starts at right back. Dominic Szoboszlai suspended, and injuries as well have Liverpool in a really tough spot at right back. Konate and Van Dijk are the centre backs, with Robertson dropping in at left back ahead of Milos Kerkez, who drops to the bench. Gravenberch and McAllister continue in midfield, with Wirtz in the 10, Salah on the right, Gakpo on the left, and Ugo Ekitike, Liverpool's leading scorer this season, he starts up front. On the bench for Liverpool, as I said, injuries galore, but it seems like they've got Joe Gomez back. Whether he's able to play a significant amount of minutes or not, we will find out. Georgi Mominishvili, the goalkeeper, Kirkez, Ramsey, Nioni, Jones, Morrison, Chiesa and Rio Ngamoa all on the bench for Liverpool. It's going to be a tough one for the Reds tonight, but Sunderland are a team that no one can underestimate in the Premier League, not even the Premier League's very best. And if they win tonight, Sunderland, they will level on points with Liverpool and keep themselves well in touching distance of European spots. Let's hope for that. Who knows what could come out of Sunderland's season. For Liverpool, they need Champions League football, and right now they're lagging behind Man United and Chelsea. But with those two dropping points, a Liverpool win tonight would certainly help their cause at getting a top 5 finish. Kick-off between Sunderland and Liverpool at the Stadium of Light is next. A very good evening. Welcome to Premier League Live for this one tonight. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, and what is A huge game under the lights at the Stadium of Light, and very contrasting seasons for these two teams. Sunderland are on cloud nine, really, in the season that they've had since being promoted from the Championship. Certainly one of the surprise packages of the season, if not the surprise package of the Premier League season. They get us underway. Of course, red and white shirts and black shorts, and Liverpool in their third kit tonight of that kind of tealish green with white shorts. No matter what colours Liverpool play, you really don't know what team is going to show up, what performance they're going to put in, and really how strong or weak they will be. It is a Liverpool team you really can't hang your hat on as of recent, and in a difficult position, albeit it has given outreach to other teams to really compete for those top spots. But you gotta say, Liverpool Champions League football is a must, and a win tonight, however unlikely it is to be, especially with Sunderland's home record, a win tonight would be a move in the right direction and a big step in the right direction. Trey Hume here on the left hand side after taking that throw in as the ball fizzed into the box. Mukiele at the back post, and well defended by Andy Robertson, who stepped in and puts it behind for a Sunderland corner. But Mukiele breaking forward there, high on that right hand side, and that's a position he'll take up quite consistently tonight, the Sunderland right back. And they've got the first corner of the game inside a minute and a half here. Taken short. Here's Angulo. Cuts it back to Trey Hume, who will go deep, and Allison has watched it all the way and comfortably gathers for Liverpool. Chris says, come on, the Sunderland 2-1 to Broby. Snap says, if Slot can't secure a European spot, then he surely won't be the manager for next season. It's going to be a difficult one to really kind of back and support. You know, Liverpool Champions League football is a must. There's pressure, albeit probably deemed to be in an offside position as he tried to break in behind the Liverpool defence there. You gotta say, Sunderland are probably Liverpool's fiercest enemy in terms of the way they play this season. Sunderland, it's exactly the opposite of what Liverpool really want. A team that's strong defensively, good and solid out of possession, and can really hurt you on the counter-attack. It's all of Liverpool's weaknesses in one team. Here's Flockian Wirtz, Liverpool's first foray into Sunderland's half, but he had no options and no passes, and gives away a free kick, does the German. And a free kick to Sunderland early. At half-time in the games, a few of those games early doors, Palace have scored a second goal. It's now 2-0 to Crystal Palace. Jorgen Strand Larsen firing off the mark tonight. Has now got more goals for Crystal Palace than he had in all of his previous games for Wolves this season. That's 2 Premier League goals already this evening. And Palace lead by 2-0 at Sellers Park. Free kick delivered deep, punched away by Allison, who'd come a good run towards the edge of his 18-yard box to command that sort of position. Sunderland throw on the left-hand side. I do expect Sunderland to really come out of the flying out of the traps, not let Liverpool settle into the game, really take it to the somewhat reigning champions. And Trey Hume with another throw-in. He's going to go short again. Back to Alderete and Reynaldo, who will play it all the way back to Roofs. Across to Ballard. Nice Siddiqui. Actually, all the way back from Diarra. Back to Roofs. Sunderland trying to get back into shape. Press from Andy Robertson, and Ekitike links it up with Gakpo, who stretches it out to Robertson. Played it inside to McAllister. And Liverpool trying to get some possession. Robertson with the ball. McAllister. Konate across to Virgil van Dijk. McAllister going for the switch ball to find Salah on the right channel. Pressed by Reynildo, but Salah has the possession. Goes to reverse, finds Gravenberg. Right wide it goes. Gravenberg inside to McAllister, who lifts it deep. Punched away by Roofs. Decent play there from Liverpool. Good combinations and trying to work the ball into the box early. Nicely dealt with by the Sunderland goalkeeper, but one or two little threats there as Konaté's ball in behind, looking for the run of Salah. He got the right side of Reynildo. Salah. Back out wide it goes. And across to Endo. And he starts it right back tonight. The 7th different right back that Liverpool have had this season, which is quite stark when you consider it. Weerts to Wataru Endo. Across to Van Dijk. Liverpool just trying to settle into the game. That's ball into Salah. Weerts picks up the loose ball as Salah was challenged, and Weerts has crossed to find Ekitike, who was put behind by Alderete. Liverpool get the corner. Yeah, nice from Liverpool there, working it in field, and Salah ultimately not holding up the ball, but Weerts to pick up the pieces and try and find Ugo Ekitike. Those two have combined quite a lot this season already. Certainly more of recent. Liverpool have their first corner of the game. Salah will take. 6 players in Liverpool colours inside the box. Salah's delivery up and away by Ballard at the near post, who had real firm control of that one. It works its way back to Robertson. We'll try and pump it forward again. Van Dijk with a header, trying to find his compatriot in Gakpo, but well defended again by Sunderland. Ballard in the way and sees it back to his goalkeeper. And Robertson, nice idea to find that reverse angle towards Van Dijk, and as the ball was headed towards the area, Gakpo was the nearest Liverpool player to it. But Ballard again able to mop it up and deal with the situation. Another goal at Sellers Park to tell you about. A quick 2-goal lead for Crystal Palace, but Burnley have got one back. Hannibal Mabry has given Burnley a little bit of hope in that game. It is Palace 2, Burnley 1. Now remember, that game is still in the first half. It was a 10-minute delay, so it was 7:40 kickoff, so they're a little bit behind the other early games in that one, and they are into the 43rd minute there at Sellers Park. Palace 2, Burnley 1. The other games are at half-time. Villa 0, Brighton 0, City 3, Fulham 0, and Forest 0, Wolves 0 in those other early kickoffs. Konaté across to Alisson, who will fire it up the middle. It's found its way towards Gakpo, who tried to feed it into Ekitike's path, and Alderete takes no risks, puts that one out for a Liverpool throw. Nice work from Gakpo and Weerts. Back to Robertson. Across to McAllister. Decent possession from Liverpool so far in the first 8 minutes or so. Despite that early pressure from Sunderland, Liverpool have just settled on the ball a little bit. Trying to take control of the game and really take the home crowd out of it. Here's Gakpo. Has to step back onto his right foot. Going to try and lift it to the back post, but didn't quite reach Salah. And the shot from range from Konaté is well off target. 76% of the possession, Liverpool, in the first 9 minutes. Although we say that so often about possession, possession is probably one of the most deceiving stats in football, especially nowadays, with teams being so able to have so little of the ball and still command the game and run away with it. That's nice from Weerts to pick up the loose ball again in the midfield. Robertson trying to feed it in behind for Ekitike. Roofs had full control and was very alert to that. Another goal at Sellers Park. One hell of a end of the half that Burnley are having against Crystal Palace. Palace with a 2-goal lead, now eradicated. It's 2-2. Hannibal with a first on 40 minutes, and then Jaden Anthony in the 44th. They just into added time in the first half, and it's Palace 2, Burnley 2 at Sellers Park. Jørgen Strand Larsen's brace eradicated in a matter of a number of minutes by the league's second bottom side in Burnley. Allison goes long again from deep. Ekitike left it. Salah made the runner behind, but Roofs again was there. Eradicate the threat. Nice directed header from Ekitike. All towards Salah from Endo, but Alderete and Reynildo should have control of that. Just back to Roofs, who clears away again, but Sunderland under a little bit of pressure here. As McAllister lost the ball for a second. Challenged well was Enzo. Nice Salah. Weerts in a tricky little space. Finds his way to Salah. Back it goes to Gravenberch. Now McAllister. Liverpool popping it around the edge of the area. Trying to work it into the box here with Gakpo. Edge of the area. Gravenberch poked it. Back to Liverpool it comes though. Sunderland sitting deep. Holding off and allowing Liverpool to have the ball. Can Liverpool break them down? Here's Ekitike. Steps onto his right foot. Beats past Hume and ultimately got past Diarra, but the last touch off Ekitike. Goal kick. Just feel Liverpool have settled. Sunderland are just trying to hold them off, and like they did in the reverse fixture, they really did set off Liverpool and allowed them to have so much of the ball, and ultimately Liverpool just really couldn't create anything with the possession they had, and Sunderland did masterclass in defence in that game. And for a while it looked like it was only going one way and that they were going to snatch a victory at Anfield, but ultimately that leveller with a Mukiele own goal that took a wicked deflection handed Liverpool a leveller. There's another goal at Sellers Park, and from 2-0 up, Crystal Palace now trail by 3-2. Burnley have scored a third, we believe. They're into the 3rd minute of added time. It's not been confirmed as of yet, but from the scoreboard I'm seeing, it is Palace 2, Burnley 3. We will wait and see what comes of that, but that is an incredible turnaround if it stays as it is there for Burnley. Well, it looked like they were down and out at Sellers Park. They seemingly have turned it completely around. Ekitike holding the ball up here nicely for Liverpool as he tries to find Robertson. Last touch is off a Sunderland player, and that will get Liverpool the throw. Confirmation that is a 3rd goal for Burnley. Jefferson Lerma has put it into his own net, and it's Palace 2, Burnley 3 at Sellers. That's still into the edges of the first half there. McAllister, Van Dijk to Roberts, back to Van Dijk. Konate trying to direct the ball in behind. Salah was the threat. Reynildo took a few risks as his goalkeeper came well out of his goal there. Ultimately dealt with it, and Brobby holding up against Konate. Helps Sunderland a little bit of respite here to break away. They need a little bit of manoeuvring up the field, do the home team. Penned in their own half for quite a lot of this. First 13.5 minutes. Squeeze from the Liverpool midfield. Ultimately won back by Sunderland as it worked back to Dan Ballard. He creates something of a bit of momentum here for the home team. As Diarra gives it back to Roofs. All into Habib Diarra, who scored those 2 goals in their last game at home against Burnley, of course. We watched here on a Monday night. They won 3-0 at Sunderland, and Diarra with the first 2 goals, and Talby with a sumptuous 3rd. Gravenberch trying to reverse it towards Ekitike. Couldn't quite find it, and I think Robertson a little late with a push. Sunderland will get the free kick. Our referee, by the way, tonight is Chris Kavanagh. I'm not too sure who the VAR is, but I'll find out for you. The VAR is Darren England. $15 minutes gone at the Stadium of Light, and the home crowd have been just undercut by Liverpool's positive start. Sunderland have a bit of the ball now. Dan Ballard again on it. Across to Siddiqui. Now Alderete. Back to Siddiqui as Liverpool take turns and dropping off the ball and into their own half as Sunderland have the possession. Ballard. And reverse it in behind. It's one for Diarra to chase, but Robertson has it covered well. Slightly overhit that ball through the lines, but the Scotsman, left back for Liverpool, has that one under control. Well, a draw tonight for Liverpool would see them stay in sixth. They would be 4 adrift of Chelsea, 5 adrift of Man United. A win would, of course, catapult them back within 3 points of the top of 4th and 5th. A defeat would be pretty damaging. It would see them 5 adrift and 6 adrift of 4th and 5th respectively after 26 games. And Arne Slot did talk about how well Liverpool need to play between now and the end of the season if they want Champions League football next campaign and want one of those top 5 spots, because they need to be near to perfection and win a lot more games than they have done this season so far between now and the end of the campaign. Albeit May seems like a long way off, still over 3 months, but with a very congested schedule of course, the FA Cup and the Champions League knockout phase, it's going to be a busy schedule between now and the end of the campaign. And league football surely is a big importance for Liverpool in trying to get to the Champions League next season. Roofs taking his time on the ball, is going to feed it in behind, looking for a runner in Angulo. He out-muscled Endo, but ultimately couldn't do much more. So Endo starting at right back tonight for Liverpool. As I said, their 7th different player at right back. Of course, Dominic Szoboszlai has been deputising there quite a few times this season, and he's suspended for this one after his late red card against Man City. It was a bizarre VAR decision, of a bizarre moment in that game, really late on, and Dominic Szoboszlai suspended for this one, and that's forced Liverpool into another position of another left back, or another right back, sorry. Albeit Endo has played there, so he's not completely unbeknownst to the position. Here comes Sunderland on the breakaway. Mukiele's cross, and probably was in there. Kanani got something to it too, but Mukiele's got it back. Van Dijk there with a block this time. It's out for the throw, but that's ignited the crowd. Again, a little bit of space in between the lines. It's a good drop off. And as the delivery by Mukiele on the first touch, whipped in. And Brobby has the shot blocked by Ibrahima Konate. Big bit of defending there from the Frenchman. Much needed. It's going to be a throw. Trey Hume on the right hand side this time. Will he go long? He's gone short the last few times, but this time it will be a launch into the area. It's met by Van Dijk and cleared away for another throw in. Van Dijk pretty abrasive to that one. And they go short this time with the throw further deeper. Reynildo. And they keep the centre backs and co up. Here's Diarra. Hume. Blocked by Gakpo, and the last touch off Caoimhan, and it's going to be a Liverpool throw. Van Dijk will clear it long. Liverpool looking for the second ball. Reinildo taken down by Weerts, who couldn't quite find Gakpo. Mukiele gets himself right in the mix here. Konate battling with Brobbey. Gravenberch comes away with it. Finds Cody Gakpo. And it's back to Virgil van Dijk. Real tussle between Konate and Brobbey already tonight. It's an intriguing battle. Here's McAllister. Pocket of space, finds Weerts, who evaded the pressure. Plays it out wide to the left to Gakpo. Onto his right foot. He's got Robertson on the outside, takes that overlapping option. Lays it into Weerts. Weerts with tricky feet, can't find Ekitike. And ultimately, it will be a Liverpool corner. Took a deflection. See it here, Robertson first time into Weerts, and Weerts just onto his right foot. Trying to find Ekitike, just blocked by Alderete, who came across, and it's deflected behind for the corner. That Roof's a little worried. It will be a Liverpool corner. So Gakpo to take. Right-footed delivery by Gakpo, punched away by Roofs. Gravenberch with an uncertain header in the edge of the area. And now threat for Liverpool on the counter-attack to deal with. As Weerts gets a toe in and wins it back. Salah now. Out wide to Weerts on the right-hand side. Back to Salah. Into the box with a little bit of space. And the ball looked like it was going to drop to the back post, but Roofs had it covered. Now the game's opening up a little bit more here. With Lefay, who will just resettle it back with Mukiele. A little bit end-to-end there for a second. Second half's underway in 3 of the 4 early kickoffs. Villa 0, Brighton 0, City 3, Fulham 0 and Forest 0, Wolves 0 are all back underway for the second half. So I'll update you if anything changes in those games. The most goals have come at Sellers Park, where it's Palace 2, Burnley 3 at half-time. With the 3 late goals from Burnley at the end of the half to really turn it around from 2-0 down to 3-2 up. Just around about halfway through the first period here at the Stadium of Light, and so far Sunderland have just played it how you would really expect, trying to be solid defensively and trying apply some pressure to Liverpool up the other end. So far with Liverpool having much more of the ball, but again not really posing much of a threat to Robin Roofs' goal so far. Caoimhan to take a free kick just inside the Liverpool half in the wide left position. Hume, right footed, it's deep, switched across. Van Dijk meets it comfortably. Finds it to Salah, who tries to hold it up and was brought down. And it's going to be a Liverpool free kick. They were wanting actually handball against Salah, the Sunderland players. Actually, it's been given the way of Liverpool. See this again, whether Salah did handle the ball or not. I mean, it does come off his arm, but is it his shoulder rather than his arm, you could argue. That's maybe what the referee's seen. But Reinildo's also been given a yellow card for his protests. He was the one that was right under the nose of Salah and was right there, but Reinildo with the yellow card. Alisson pumps it up forward over the head of Salah, and Ekitike couldn't quite reach it. Endo battling, but lost out that time. As Gravenberch tries to cover, and Endo battling, but again not able to keep a hold of Angulo. Endo to Konate, and Endo's just shoved over by Angulo there. That's going to be a free kick. Nilson Angulo, of course, the Ecuadorian who signed on deadline day for Sunderland. Salah back to Van Dijk now. Robertson inside to Weerts. Nice little flick trying to find McAllister. A little undercooked it though. And again, Sunderland busying that central area. Pick it up with Siddiqui. Now Angulo. Taking on Weerts, who was out-muscled Angulo, and Weerts wins a free kick down the right-hand side. Both sides have given as good as they've got so far. Here's Weerts down the right to Salah. 3 breaking towards the box. Salah trying to find one. The cross was blocked well by Reynildo, but again Liverpool back in possession. Gravenberch into the box it goes. Robertson, the man in there, just over the head of the Scotsman. Nice idea. Ultimately not finding the Liverpool left back. Well, Sunderland are winless in the last 11 Premier League games against Liverpool since a 1-0 home win in March of 2012, thanks to a Nicholas Bentner strike. They've drawn 5 and lost 6 of their last 11 against today's opponents. Soccer Zane says, everyone says Salah fell off. Do you think he's going to stay and be back in form? Well, who knows, really. I think Salah had, of course, was out with AFCON and obviously had his little dispute with Arne Slot that had him out of the team for a few games before Christmas as well. So it's been in and out of the team this season. Salah, and I mean, from the unbelievable heights that he reached last season and the standards he's set at Liverpool over the last number of years, anything that's slightly off that is going to look well below his standards. Is Gakpo's cross. Dangerous one. Robertson follows it up with another whip ball. Headed away. Canate as Liverpool try and impose themselves again. Crosses seem a real danger. Robertson's delivery that time a little short. And he will win it back again, Andy Robertson. Yeah, crosses seem to be a real threat for Liverpool on the attack so far. Weerts, Ekitike, back to Gravenberch though. And we'll just find it to Robertson again, but I mean, Salah has been well off at this season. 6 goals, 6 assists in the Premier League. Still an average level, but for Mo Salah, I mean, that is horrendous numbers considering his standards, but I don't think he's fell off. I think it's a little extreme, but I think the whole team, the whole Liverpool team has been below par this season. They were scoring for fun last season and were one of the best defences in Europe. Once you have that combination, you can have the freedom. When it's a little bit more tentative, you need to score every chance you get when your defence isn't as strong. It may just become a little bit more pressured, although there's no one more than Mo Salah, who does well in pressure situations. Here is Ekitike, lovely reverse ball to Weerts. Weerts trying to hang on and ultimately try to win the ball back. And Dan Ballard went over wanting a foul. Whether the referee felt it was a foul, I'm not too sure. See it here. Yeah, he couldn't carry the ball with him, Weerts, against Lafay, and I mean, that's simulation if I've ever seen it from Dan Ballard. It's no foul, but it definitely wasn't. No contact. Gravenberch. Shoot from range. Didn't get very far as Brobby was in his way, but it's bounced towards Salah's path at the back post. Reynildo takes it down and clears. Picked up again by Konate. Liverpool imposing themselves again, but little to no final third threat. Konate finds Endo. Back to Salah. Actually, Konate back to Van Dijk and across to Robertson. Does well to evade the pressure. Finds Gravenberg between the lines. Now Konate. Salah coming very central for Liverpool. Here's Weerts. He will hit one from range. And Roofs makes the save. Florian Weerts showing his diversity. That was a decent effort. Good strike. Finding its way towards that far left corner. Roofs does really well in making the save down to his right hand side. Puts behind for the Liverpool corner. And Cody Gakpo to take this corner on the left hand side. Right on the 30-minute mark. Sunderland 0, Liverpool 0. Liverpool with another corner. Gakpo's delivery, right footed. Up and flicked over at the near post by Van Dijk. Quite a number of bodies in there, and Van Dijk was the one that stood tallest. And ultimately just come off the back of Van Dijk's head. Ultimately goes behind for a goal kick, but usually Van Dijk is the one that's to watch when Liverpool are taking corners. He's just, if he was facing that ball, could have been much more of a threat. But he's just facing away from where the ball ends up finding and meeting the head of Van Dijk, and this makes it so much more difficult of a header to deal with. Well, that Florian Weerts shot that led to that corner was Liverpool's first on target, actually the first shot on target of the game. And, Sunderland are going to take another long throw, it looks like here. Trey Hume again, readying for it. Actually takes it short to Mukiele. Hume goes deep with a cross, and deep and too deep. Allison recovers. Who's laid it off to Robertson here in space. Liverpool want to move quickly. Ekitike now he's got it. Surrounded by a number, but Ekitike hangs on to the ball and has got space to shoot. Two or three bodies threw themselves at it there as Ekitike had the shot. Konate picks up the loose ball in his own half. And plays it to McAllister. I think in transition is where Liverpool really need to take advantage if they can. Sunderland will sit deep, will soak up pressure, will keep Liverpool at bay. That's nice play though. Gakpo's cross just over the head of Salah. Endo's picked it up. He scoops it across the box and cleared away. Liverpool moving nicely in around the edge of the area. Gakpo breaking towards the box. Weerts gets it away, and the shot comes off the right post. Pushing and probing here, Liverpool knocking on the door. McAllister just behind Gravenberg, which takes a little bit of sting out of it, but Liverpool have really grown into the game in the last 5 minutes. Certainly when they reach the final third, they're linking up passes, finding space in the Sunderland area. And that Florian Weerts shot was actually his first touch that really set up the shooting opportunity. Dragged all the defenders towards him, and as the ball was skipping away, he found the space to have the shot. It just found the right post. Wasn't too far away. Weerts really growing in prominence in this game. Here's Weerts again, finds Gravenberg, whips it into the area. Half clearance, it finds its way to Gakpo, who tries to dig it out. Drops to Robertson on the rebound. Liverpool feeling the pressure on them. Robertson's ball to the back post, brought down by Salah, who shot first time. Blocked. Endo delivers. As Gakpo went for it, he thought he was dragged down. Robertson keeps the pressure on. Diarra holding him off. Robertson and Diarra in a tussle. And Robertson giving away the free kick. You got to say, Liverpool really had their hands around the necks of Sunderland here. You gotta say, Weerts is unlucky to not find the net there, but the first touch sets it up. He really takes the defender away from him, puts him off balance, creates that little gap of space to have the shot, and as he does, it spins across goal and off the right hand post. It's really good though from Wirtz, who's, as I said, really grown into the game and taking real charge of Liverpool's attacking prowess so far. Gakpo winning the header. Wirtz taking it down nicely, linking up with Ekitike. Back to Wirtz. Looking well between the lines here, Wirtz playing well. As Gakpo brought down, and that's going to be a free kick. Referee giving the free kick to the visitors. Enzo Lefebvre, the one committing the foul. We've seen so many times this season Liverpool having good spells in the game, and probably their best spells in games in the first halves, and then being really punished for not taking the chance and getting that opening goal. They've had 9 shots, just the one on target so far. Here comes Gakpo. Drifting towards the area, beats past his man, gets it across, drops to Van Dijk. His shot deflects off ahead. I think maybe Alderete possibly behind for the corner, but again Gakpo breaking past his fullback quite a few times in Mukiele, and this time it was Siddiqui in his way. And as the ball came back, it's Virgil van Dijk in the position. He struck it with his left foot and come off the head of Alderete and behind for the corner. Liverpool really on the push for that opening goal here. Gakpo to deliver again from the corner. Oh, dropped away at the back post as it had to be scrambled clear by Lefebvre. Sunderland are having to ride a little bit of a storm here. Under real pressure. Wirtz takes it down. Plays it back to his captain in Van Dijk, and now Robertson. And down the left comes Gakpo again. Working into the area, trying to tricky his way around players. Cuts it back. But again, the number of Sunderland bodies in the area saw that one off, and as Siddiqui breaks from his area. Fouled by Ekitike. Free kick to Sunderland. Well, Liverpool with around about hovering around 70% possession. Really pushing for that opening goal, but Sunderland holding firm and staying strong defensively. Van Dijk decides to go long again. Liverpool win the second ball with Gravenberch, who sets up a ball to Salah. Tries to find it towards Wirtz in the area. Second ball, Wirtz wins the head of Roofs. Gets in the way of it. But again, Wirtz is there. And that was another occasion where Sunderland are a little bit fortunate. Salah's ball lofted towards Wirtz, and Ballard gets it all wrong. He tries to head it away, but he kind of heads it up into the air, and Wirtz on the drop down, it kind of off his head and was smothered by Roofs. But Sunderland really hanging on here, on the ropes a little bit. Gakpo going for the outside of the boot cross, too close to Roofs, who has that all day long. And now they want to break away here, Sunderland, with Siddiqui. Now Angulo down the left-hand side. If they can sucker punch Liverpool here, that'll really uplift. Angulo, shot from range, was always going to be caught by Alisson, but he did find the end product out of it. Angulo just continued running until he got the shooting opportunity, and when he did, he got the effort off, albeit Alisson had it under control. Salah linking up with Wirtz again. Wirtz breaking off a midfielder. Wirtz finding Gakpo. Liverpool in a fortuitous position. Gakpo! Shot was charged down. Robertson trying to press the ball, and a little bit caught out there come Liverpool. As here's Diarra trying to find Brobbey in behind. Konaté's got a full grip of him. Brobbey held it off well. Finds Mukiele. Cross now to Lefebvre. Trying to find Diarra in behind. Overheaded a little bit. And Alisson was there to pick up the pieces, but Sunderland showing a little bit of fight back in the last few minutes. One or two little ideas, and that's a nice ball in behind. And Konaté and Brobbey. It's a battle that'll continue all night long for sure. And another instalment of it there that Konaté did enough to hold off his man, even when it looked as tricky. Konaté to Van Dijk. A good ebb and flow of this game. A lot of this first half, Sunderland have had to defend. Had very little of the ball, but as I said before, you can have 20-30% of the ball and still cause a meaningful threat. Here's McAllister right through the heart of the Sunderland midfield, and Veert's on the spin. Endo across. Too close to Roofs. There was players lining up for Liverpool in the middle, but Endo's ball just a little bit too close to the goalkeeper. Bit of spin on that one, and could have found the feet of Salah or Gakpo, who were charging in on that cross. Kanati again, full grip of Brobby, but referee said it was fair. McAllister laid it off to Robertson. Now Gakpo, a real outlet down this left side. Gakpo trying to return the favour. Robertson's cut back. Roofs has to put it behind for the corner with his left foot as Robertson's cut back. It's arrowing towards the 6-yard area. Again, good link up between Gakpo and Robertson. They've posed a real threat down the left hand side, and that cut back for Robertson was well seen out by Robin Roofs. Another Liverpool corner will come. Four minutes of the 45 to go in this first half. Sunderland 0, Liverpool 0. Liverpool really having control, but Sunderland's hanging on in there as Gakpo's delivery was just seen away by, again, Dan Ballard. Gravenberg picks it up from against Lafay, and Gravenberg tries to whip it in. Hooked behind for another corner, this time by Hume. It's corner number 5 or 6 for Liverpool. Racking up the corners. And 13 shots in this first half so far, Liverpool. Still lacking that lead, the visitors, to show for their control of this first period. Ball whipped in by Salah, away by Angulo. And Angulo will see it behind for another corner, which Salah will once again take. Salah's delivery again away at the near post, taken in by McAllister. He got a little bit tangled. Did well to retrieve it. Gravenberg, Salah's delivery, too close to Roofs again. He had full control, but you gotta say, Robin Roofs has done quite a lot to keep his team in this in the first half. He's made some really big saves, some really big claims, and really controlled his area. That's what's kept Liverpool at bay. Hume rides the challenge of Gakpo. Finds Diarra, who has it stolen away from Gakpo. Diarra says he was fouled, but referee said it was a fair challenge. And now Gakpo's away. It's a 4v4 as he runs into the challenge. But now McAllister will try and shoot from range. Gets a little bit sloppy and impatient as Diarra is still down with a shin issue. It will be a Sunderland throw as Liverpool kick it out. But we'll see what the issue is with Habib Diarra here. Whether Gakpo does. Oh, he does, you know. Does make contact, but Gakpo wins all the ball. A quick update why we do have this stoppage in play from the other games. It's still Aston Villa 0, Brighton 0, Crystal Palace 2, Burnley 3, Man City 3, Fulham 0, and Forest 0, Wolves 0 in those games that kicked off earlier this evening. 3 of those going into the final 20 minutes in that game between Palace and Burnley, into the last half an hour of that one. We're into the last minute or so of the first half here at the Stadium of Light, and Liverpool have been in real dominant control. Lots of shots and lots of possession. Again, lacking that goal that really has been ultimately the only thing that's kept parity between the two. Liverpool have been by far the better team, but scoreline doesn't reflect that at the moment. Gakpo down the touchline, steps inside, but he's got the backup of Wirtz as he was challenged. And Robertson guides it across to Van Dijk. Back to Andy Robertson. Konate will pump it forward, looking for the head of Ekitike, is cleared away by Ballard, picked up by Wirtz, but got a little bit too cute there, Wirtz, and Mukiele stole the ball away. McAllister stepped in though and blocked it out for the throw-in down the right-hand side. As we will have just the one added minute at the end of the first half here. Hume to take this throw-in for Sunderland. Last action of the first half will be up and coming. Looks very likely it will be goalless at the break, unless there can be one last opportunity for one of the two before the interval. Here's Alderete. Back to Ballard. Sunderland maybe having a little bit of possession before the break. Here's Mukiele. Robertson stepped in and a little bit of movement here. Sadiki's got into a little bit of space. Sadiki goes for the cross. Away it goes. And the tangle between Brobby and Konate. Couldn't quite see what it was. It was an off-the-ball collision or battle between the two. Darren England, the VAR, might be looking at a penalty here. Ooh. Konate does pull him back. And they're both at each other. That's a little soft, if I'm honest. And I think they've decided that's the right decision. Play on, and half-time whistle goes at the Stadium of Light. So the first half comes to a pretty tentative end, but a first half that Liverpool have more than dominated and have been firm control of. They've had many of the shots. I said 14 to say that, the most they've had in an away Premier League game in the first half this season. But they've nothing to show for it at half-time at the Stadium of Light. It's Sunderland 0, Liverpool 0. Sure, one last kick. This is going to be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal! Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half time, it is Sunderland 0, Liverpool 0. At the Stadium of Light, Liverpool have been much the better team. They've certainly dominated the game. 14 shots to 2, 68% possession to 32 in Sunderland. And have had 2 shots on target, 1 for the home team to this point, but no goals to show for it from the first half, but a big second half surely to come in a few minutes' time. Elsewhere, those other games coming into the latter stages, the last 10 minutes of 3 of the 4 games they kicked off earlier this evening. It's goalless between Aston Villa and Brighton. Same scoreline at the City Ground between Forest and Wolves, and it is City who lead Fulham by 3 goals to 0 at the Etihad. But all the action in the game that was delayed earlier this evening, there's still about 20 minutes to go in that one at Sellers Park. A 5-goal thriller. Palace opened the scoring with the first 2 goals. Jørgen Strand Larsen with his first 2 in Palace colours, giving them a 2-goal lead. But a first half turnaround inside 7 minutes. Burnley were 3-2 up, and that continues to be the score into the final 17 minutes of the game there at Sellers Park. A very intriguing scoreline there between those two. And we'll tell you what that means for the table a little later on. But a quick reminder of last night's games. And it finished 2-2 between Chelsea and Leeds. João Pedro opened the scoring. A Cole Palmer penalty gave Chelsea a 2-goal advantage. But with their only 2 shots on target, Leeds clawed their way back into the game. Lucas Mecha scoring the first. He set up the second for Noah Okafor to level inside 7 minutes of each other, those 2 goals. And Leeds were all the way back and ended up picking up the point that they desperately needed to push themselves away from the relegation zone continually, and Chelsea failing to take advantage of Man United dropping points to try and take 4th spot as Chelsea falter too. Speaking of home falterings, Everton are beaten at home by Bournemouth, albeit they led the game. Iliman Ndiaye's penalty in the first half gave the Toffees the lead, but 2 goals from Ryan and Adley in the second period turned it around for Bournemouth to win by 2-1, a much needed victory for the Cherries, who've really turned their form around in the last number of games after a real torrid run. They're unbeaten in their last 6 league games. So a really good turnaround from Bournemouth in recent weeks. A big result away from home for Newcastle, a rarity that they can say they've gone on the road and won this season. It's actually only their 3rd away victory all campaign for Newcastle. But the home of Spurs is not a fortress by any means. Only Burnley and Wolves have picked up either the same or less points than Tottenham at home this season. But they had to come from behind to try and battle into the game. Spurs. Malik Chow gave Newcastle the lead. Archie Gray then levelled for the home side before Jacob Ramsey gave Newcastle their winner just 4 minutes after Spurs levelled, and another defeat that ended the tenure of Thomas Frank after 8 months in charge of Spurs. His time was up, and he was sacked just this afternoon following that 2-1 defeat last night. And it could have been very easily defeat for Manchester United, but a point it was to end their 4-game winning streak. That could have been 5, and really haircuts could have been on the horizon, but ultimately West Ham led the game and should have probably won it. Thomas Souček with the goal to give West Ham the lead, but a late 96th minute leveller from Benjamin Šeško levelled the game for Manchester United and rescued a point for Michael Carrick's United, who stay 4th and stay in the driving seat for that 4th place position against Chelsea and Liverpool. Chelsea, as I said, dropping points last night as well, means they stay in similar positions, both 45 and 44 respectively, and Liverpool on the chase. If they win tonight, Liverpool will be within 3 points of the top 4 places. Those were last night's results. The games elsewhere are all still the same. And we have a big second half to come at the Stadium of Light. It's Sunderland 0, Liverpool 0. Second period's on the way next. Welcome back to Premier League Live 7 live. Second half at the Stadium of Light is on the way in just a moment. But a reminder for you, we've one more Premier League game to bring you this midweek, and that is at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Brentford side who have had their best points record at this stage of a campaign since they were promoted to the Premier League for the first time under Thomas Frank 5 seasons ago, and they head into tomorrow's game against the Gunners in fine form to Brentford as they push for European football. Arsenal push towards the title. The gap will be cut to 3 points tonight, but they can extend that back to 6 if they win tomorrow. Anything other than that, and surely it might be advantage Manchester City in this title race. That is tomorrow, 8 o'clock, a London derby at the G-Tech. An update from the other games. We have a goal. It's come at Villa Park, and it's a big goal for Aston Villa. They've taken the lead. Tyrone Mings has opened the scoring, and Aston Villa lead by 1-0 in the dying embers of that game, the last few minutes of normal time, to keep on the coattails of the top two. Villa 1. Brighton 0. We'll update you on the rest of those games if anything happens, and we will conclude all of the results at the end of tonight, and we'll give you a quick glance at the table as well, heading into tomorrow night's action. But at the break, Liverpool already out there, actually, ready for the second half. Sunderland just emerging in the tunnel. Just enough time to tell you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. If you haven't done so already, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you all for joining us this evening for this one. A first half that Liverpool have dominated, but nothing to show for it in terms of the scoreline to this point. We remain goalless heading into the second half. A big second half it is indeed. If Liverpool want to keep in touching distance of Chelsea and Man United above them, but the Sunderland side, if they can come out and win their second half, will join Liverpool on 39 points, and will keep their hopes of maybe quite a remarkable season alive of possible European football. It's not out of the realms of possibility by any stretch for Sunderland, and they want to keep their unbeaten home record alive. They've worked hard to keep Liverpool at bay in that first half, and a big second half to come here as Liverpool get us back underway. Salah going for the deep ball right away. It's Van Dijk with his first action of the half, and ultimately Gakpo offside. A free kick to Sunderland, but Liverpool will probably be hoping to start this second half as they ended off the first with, as I said, their most shots in an away game in the first half this season. 14 they had, albeit only 2 shots on target. Wirtz hit the post. He got a good save at a Roofs as well on a couple of occasions, and Robin Roofs has been really key to keeping Sunderland on terms here so far. Ballard as he works it back to Roofs. Just seen that Aston Villa goal from a corner for Tyrone Mings. Gakpo trying to press. Actually lost his balance as he tried to push for the ball there on Siddiqui. Roofs goes long. Endo wins the header. Second ball wasn't picked up by Liverpool. Instead it's Lefay who takes control. And now Angulo down the left hand side. Angulo chops past Endo. Angulo's cross away by Van Dijk. Not fully cleared though as Mukiele picks it up. Blocked by Gakpo. And Siddiqui picks up for Sunderland. They want to assert a little bit of control. Do Sunderland. Maybe show a little bit of their attacking ability. Maybe swing the pendulum in their favour. Here is Angulo. Got Reinildo on the overlap, but Angulo comes inside and, well, stopped by Gravenberch as cleared away. Did Endo, but again Liverpool unable to keep a hold of the ball. Sunderland back onto it. Siddiqui out wide, it goes to Diarra. Diarra's cross punched away by Allison. Gakpo in a foot race. Just beaten to it. Back there by Mukiele as Ballard picks up again for Sunderland. A good start to the half for the home team. Trying to really take the game to Liverpool to start the half. Maybe put Liverpool on the back foot and garner a little bit of momentum for themselves in an attacking sense. A lot of that first half they were penned in under pressure and having to do a lot of defending, Sunderland. Maybe they just open themselves up a little bit more. Try and push forward a little bit more and try and put Liverpool under a little bit of pressure for a while. Roofs has the ball here, goes long. Endo again wins his header. Gravenberg couldn't quite help it towards McAllister, who swung at it but missed it, as Diarra has it now. Le Fay, inside it goes. Hume making the angle. McAllister helped by Wirtz to clear it away. Ekitike picks up the loose ball against Ballard. Skips past Dan Ballard to Ekitike. Slightly on his own. Here's a heavy touch inside. Picked up by Le Fay. Breaks it all apart. Hit the hard part. Got past Dan Ballard, did Ekitike. And couldn't do much further past that. A couple of final whistles. City have won by 3-0 against Fulham, and it's finished goalless between Nottingham Forest and Wolves at the City Ground. A big point for Wolves, albeit a point that really possibly means nothing to their season. But Forest drawing means they're 3 points, just 3 points ahead of West Ham, and 2 behind Spurs down there at the bottom. Here's Angulo for Sunderland. To Siddiqui. Across to Le Fay and back to Dan Ballard. Now Alderete chips it forward. Endo again managing his winger well with a header, but the header's picked up by Hume, whose shot is just over the crossbar by the Northern Irishman there. Goes for the goal kick. Yeah, Angulo does well, lays it off to Hume, who has the shot, was always rising, but just curled away from the centre at the last second, and Allison threw a hand at it, but it was always going over the crossbar. Again, showing a little bit more positivity, Sunderland, to start this second period. Endo and Konate not quite finding each other there. Endo tussling again with Angulo, and Liverpool winning the throw down the right hand side. Well, so far in the first 5 minutes of the second half, the possession has swung Sunderland with over 70% of the ball, compared to Liverpool having around about 70% in the first half. Bates finding it out to Robertson on the left hand channel. He's going to work it back in field to McAllister. Now Gravenberg to Endo. He's got Salah on the right side. Salah back inside to Gravenberg. To Ekitike, who tried to reverse it in behind, and no one made the run. Nice idea, but no one on the same page as the Frenchman there, and ultimately finds its way through to Robin Roofs. But Liverpool have been a little bit more creative as they've entered the final third tonight. They have been. Oh, Ekitike tried to go for the ball there. Roofs at the last second grabbed it, and the referee's going to stop the game for the moment to check upon Roofs. But we see it here. Roofs didn't have control of the ball, and as Ekitike jumped in for it, Roofs grabbed it, and Ekitike just held a little hand on Roofs. The referee's just going to have a word. I mean, he got a. I mean, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, really. Ekitike's going to the ball to try and put pressure on the goalkeeper. The keeper lifts it the last second to entice the attacker. They're both playing at each other there. It's nothing. Something or nothing. Ultimately, Roofs will take the kick. Taken in by Angulo, but well shielded by Endo. Couldn't keep a hold of the ball though. Konate sliding in with a challenge up against Brobby. Konate blocked off, and Angulo still scrapping to the ground. McAllister there intersecting, and he's going to be pulled back there, McAllister, by Angulo to try and win it back, and that's going to be a free kick to Liverpool. Good tussle by McAllister after Angulo had really gone to the ground and still held the ball. And as McAllister just stepped in, took the ball away, and as he was dragged back, wins the free kick. Allison going for the long diagonal, a little bit too far ahead of Gakpo. McAllister first to react in the middle, finds Gakpo again, backheeled to Wirtz. Wirtz has found Ekitike wide on the left, inside to Gakpo, back to Ekitike, who skipped away from a man, finds it to Salah. Lots of red shirts flooding the area as Salah dispossessed but wins it back again. Salah charging away from his man in Reynaldo. Salah trying the cross, blocked by Angulo, behind for the Liverpool corner. One word I would have to say about Liverpool tonight: perseverance. Even when Sunderland have dispossessed them, they've continually fought for the ball back. And Salah there, his perseverance to win it back, has got him and his team a corner. Corner on the right hand side for Liverpool. Salah lifts it in with the left foot, punched away by Roofs. Wirtz takes it down, cuts it across, blocked at the near post by Diarra, out for the throw. Wirtz throwing it into Gakpo. Wirtz back to Gakpo, skips away from a challenge, and another one does Gakpo as he plays it back to Robertson. Wirtz trying to go first time, he's kept a hold of the ball. Again evading challenges, Wirtz, reverse ball into Gravenberch, lays it back to Wirtz. His shot was blocked on the in the box there. Konate angles for it, Endo's going to have a go. Shot was blocked there. Throwing bodies on the line here, Sunderland, and Liverpool again trying to knock on the door. That's a lovely ball by Van Dijk forward. Endo took it down and Salah couldn't hold it up. Cleared away, but again Konate to intersect. And McAllister brought it down. Wirtz, Gravenberch, Liverpool really pumping it. As Gravenberch's ball a little heavy towards Endo. But again, good play from Liverpool again. And surely the key to it all has been Florian Wirtz. And again, he has another go here. See it again. Gravenberch held it up well, dropped it back to Wirtz, who struck it right at Dan Ballard, who threw his body at it. Gotta say, he's created quite a lot tonight, Florian Wirtz, and has been everywhere for Liverpool in an attacking sense. But so has Dan Ballard defensively for Sunderland. He's thrown everything he's got at this game so far and certainly passed the test with flying colours as it stands. Final whistle's gone at Villa Park. Aston Villa have won by a goal to nil. Ultimately it was given as a Tyrone Mings goal, but Hinshelwood's been credited with the own goal. But Villa won't care. They've won by a goal to nil. Still ongoing into additional time between Palace and Burnley, where Burnley are leading by 3 goals to 2 after Crystal Palace led 2-0, and Burnley have completely flipped it on its head. And Burnley winning would put them within 9 points of Forest, who are in 17th, and within 6 of West Ham, who both had dropped points this midweek. Here's Brian Brobby in behind. He's got the better of Konate on this occasion. Brobby. Konate stepped in at the right moment. And in the end, the flag's gone up actually against Brian Brobby. See it again here. Ekitike couldn't quite link up at the one end, and then the ball in behind. Whether Brobby actually was offside or not, Konate certainly wasn't in the mix, but Van Dijk might have just played him on. Nonetheless, it comes to nothing. This game in the balance, very much, albeit Liverpool have continually posed a threat, but you gotta say, if there is to be a first goal, Whoever gets it, it will surely determine which way this game swings. It doesn't seem like there's a real handful of goals in this one. Seems like it's going to be one of those really tight games that could be decided by a singular moment. Angulo initially got the better of Endo, but he did well to battle in again, the Japanese. And McAllister's telegraph ball ahead of Robertson. Gives it away to Mukiele, who shoots! And it's zipped wide of the right post. Allison was committed, and Mukiele wasn't too far away there. Stepped inside Robertson, and the shot was just carried wide. I think Allison would have had it anyway, but a decent opportunity. And 32 minutes to go of this game. Remains goalless in the reverse fixture this season. Sunderland scored the opener in the 67th minute. Liverpool scored their leveller on the 81st. So late goals decided the fixture earlier this campaign. Weerts into Ekitike, cuts it back. Salah! Couldn't find the target. I think it took a deflection. Reynildo, that got a body in the way. But again, Liverpool into spaces, and Salah here struck it, and it came off the head of Reynildo. Beautiful little cutback by Ekitike. Salah strode onto it, and the shot deflected by Reynildo. They're throwing everything at this, I gotta say, Sunderland. They've shown an art in throwing bodies on the line and blocking as many shots as they can at their bodies. Salah to take this Liverpool corner. Left-footed delivery. Flicked on. Ekitike was in the mix. The last touch off a Sunderland player. Will be another corner. Mukiele, I think, got the last touch, and it will be corner number 10 for Liverpool, if I'm not mistaken. So they've hit double figures. Can they make one count, though, Liverpool? It's been a real Achilles heel of them this season, defensively and offensively. Corners, and Chris Kavanagh wants to have a word with Konate and Dan Ballard, I think it was. Nonetheless, another Liverpool corner will come here. Lots of tussling and bustling in the box. Salah's delivery up and met, and it's gone in! Off the head of a Liverpool player, and then in off the head of a Sunderland one to put it over the line, and Liverpool take the lead. A lead they've been pushing and probing for right the way throughout this game. And on the hour mark, Arne Slot's Liverpool take the lead at the Stadium of Light. And again, it comes from this set piece. It's Salah's delivery that's beautiful. It's Van Dijk that rises the highest. He gets the header on. And at the back post, it's Diarra, who couldn't stop it from going into his own net. He was on the line. I think it was going to be credited to Van Dijk, surely, because it's on target. But Diarra certainly helps it along its way. But it's gone in, and no matter how it's gone in, Liverpool have scored, and that's all they'll care about. Arne Slot will be happy no matter what on that occasion. Initially, we'll hand it to Van Dijk. He's going to be initially credited with it, but we'll see if that stands. But nonetheless, it's Liverpool who lead. The breaking of the deadlock at the Stadium of Light comes via Virgil van Dijk from a corner. It's been all the talk of Liverpool this season, how poor they've been from corners, defensively and going forward and attacking them. And here's looking for a response there. Endo has to make a really good tackle. I think he's really hurt himself here, Endo. Almost an instant response here from Sunderland. Oh, he kind of jars his knee there, Endo, a little bit. Doesn't look good. He kind of gets, as he tries to slide for it, Endo, he gets his foot caught in the turf and then kind of hurts his ankle. And is it the curse of the right back position for Liverpool this season? No matter who plays there, doesn't last very long there. Well, Endo, thankfully, is on his feet again, but he had to make the key stop as Angulo was at the back post, and Oh, it's a real difficult one. I mean, it's actually quite good that he's on his feet again, Endo. It looked a real tough one to deal with, that. He's going to get back to his feet and deal with this. Corner to Sunderland, deep, back post, up in the air it goes. Overhead kick, Angulo with a flick on. Van Dijk clears it. Still not away. Angulo, Gravenberch trying to throw himself out of blocked. Wirtz as well trying to get in the way of it. Here's Mukiele. Seen out, but Sunderland whipped the cross in. Away by McAllister and further by Salah. But Sunderland trying to really ping back a response. Gravenberch, Gakpo. Alderetti's got it here. Finds Diarra. Whip ball in low. Konate's header away. Picked up by Siddiqui. Konate again gets in the way, but no respite for Liverpool at the minute. Here comes Mukiele again. Whips it in. And Gravenberch puts it behind for the corner. Oh, really a bit of an onslaught there from Sunderland on Liverpool. And Endo's gone down again, so that might end his night as Joe Gomez readies on the sideline. Final whistle's gone at Sellers Park. Palace have been beaten 3-2 by Burnley. But one hell of a response here from Sunderland since going down. They've really tried to throw the game at Liverpool now. And Endo stayed down here, which is a worry. I mean, whatever Liverpool have done to curse the right back position, no matter who plays there, is either suspended or injured. And that is not looking good at all. I think they are signalling for a stretcher, which is, I mean, you couldn't write it. Liverpool's issues. We talked about it coming into the game. The 7th different player that's played it right back this season for Liverpool. And he looks like he's going to be the latest casualty, Wataru Endo here. Connor Bradley, Jeremy Frimpong injured. And Dominic Szoboszlai suspended. Only for one game, but still suspended. And now Endo looking like he's going to have a really bad injury here. Albeit he looked like he could continue. He looked okay. He jumped back to his feet and looked okay, but clearly something has been tweaked or gone wrong. And it never looked good from the very off when we seen it. It looked really poor, a really difficult one. A really painful one for Wataru Endo, and clearly one that he can't shake off. Well, from Liverpool taking the lead here to a big goal at Celtic Park. We haven't really updated you on the Scottish Premiership tonight, but a former Liverpool player, so it is somewhat linked to this game, but a former Liverpool player has scored in his first game for Celtic after joining as a free agent. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has scored what seemingly would be the winner in the game against Livingston for Celtic in the 91st minute, set up by Tunekti. And Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has got a goal for Celtic in the dying embers to give them the lead against Livingston. And they're pushing back for the title race there in Scotland, are Celtic. And they might have just got their hero laid on there. A big stoppage here at the Stadium of Light. Liverpool leading by a goal to nil. Virgil van Dijk with the header from a corner that was helped along its way, shall we say, by Diarra, albeit Van Dijk did get the header and was on target, so he should and would be credited with the goal from a corner. And that is, of course, the goal that has the difference between the two teams. And we talked about Liverpool's real lack of quality when it comes to set-piece goals this season. In terms of the 40 goals they'd scored coming into this game, 4 of those 40 have been from set-pieces. So only their 5th goal they've scored from a set-piece this season. That doesn't include free kicks, because 3 of their three goals have come from free kicks, 1 from a penalty and 1 own goal, of course, which actually, funnily enough, was Sunderland. The only own goal that has been credited to Liverpool this season in their favour. Corners have been a real lacking in Liverpool's game. could be the key difference tonight. Well, Endo is on the stretcher and will be lifted off the field. And a pretty disappointing end to what has been a pretty good performance from Wataru Endo. He's done really well at keeping Angulo at bay. And the crowd applauding, which is nice to see from the home crowd also applauding Wataru Endo. And Liverpool have had incredible amounts of trouble at that right back this season. And Wataru Endo, who isn't a right back, which probably further extenuates the point of how Liverpool have had such tough problems with right backs this season, that they've played a couple of midfielders there. But it is Joe Gomez who will pick up the place. Returns to the team for the first time since his injury. Joe Gomez. And he's on to play the final 25 minutes or so here. He can play right back. He play all across the back line, Joe Gomez. Very versatile Liverpool player. Right, left and centre back. And he's got a corner to defend here. Enzo Lefebvre to take for Sunderland. Only their third corner of the game. Lefebvre, right-footed delivery. Up and away by Van Dijk. And Sunderland looking to keep playing the pressure here on Liverpool, as they've got an unbeaten home record to hang on to. And they need to find a goal from somewhere here, Sunderland, if they're going to keep that on going. Ball delivered in, Ekitike headed it away. Little jink between Salah and Weerts. Salah's played it on, trying to find Gakpo, a little behind the Dutchman. And Sunderland can retrieve. Well, this is the point. Liverpool scored late against Manchester City after 70 minutes to take the lead on Sunday, and threw it away late on and lost by 2-1. And now they lead 1-0. With just edging into the final 20 minutes at the Stadium of Light. Can they learn from past mistakes? And what will pick up what would be a really huge 3 points at one of the toughest places to go in the Premier League this season. But here's Mukiele down the right. Ball fed towards the area. Away by Gravenberg. Nicely helped on its way by Weerts. Salah fires it in behind, looking for Ekitike. He'd made the run out to that left channel. Ekitike up against Ballard. Ekitike steps under his right foot. Muscled, but Ekitike held it on to it. Finds McAllister. Nice Salah in space. Mo Salah trying to work it towards the area. Deflection! And Ekitike tried it. I think it just flipped over the top. Off Ekitike's shot. Yeah, Salah had the effort, and as it deflected off Enzo Lefebvre, it found into the path of Ekitike on the run, and his shot was just over the crossbar. But kind of the point that's been made this season in the Premier League, and I think it's a very valid one. Liverpool took the lead against Manchester City at the weekend and kind of tried to hold on to that result, tried to hold on to a 1-goal lead. And this season the Premier League is a league that doesn't kind of fare too kindly to teams that just want to hang on to results. Seems to be a lot of, if you're not attacking the game, you're really throwing it away and offering it up to the opposition. And I think that's the fine balance you need to find in the Premier League this season. There's been so many comebacks, so many late goals, that the first goal in games are more often than not pretty useless and pointless, because more often than not they're not the decisive one. Here's Brobbey battling with Konate, got the better as he went down wanting a penalty. Ultimately Konate got the block and tried to clear it. Liverpool under pressure again. Van Dijk missed the kick. Stepped in was Gomez. Kept alive. Reinildo whips it in. The header is just over the crossbar by Trey Hume. They wanted a penalty here, Sunderland. See it here, Konate and Brobbey. It's a battle that's sprung on all night. Konate, just a fair challenge. I think it's a good bit of defending there from Ibrahima Konate. He stretched for the ball, and as he went to ground, he got all ball. I think that's a really good challenge. And I think Ibrahima Konate did well. Konate hooks it clear. Salah takes it down with a nice first touch and lays it back to Joe Gomez. Konate step back inside and was kind of clotheslined there by Brian Brobby. He tried to pull him back, and that's going to give Liverpool a free kick. I've got to say, it's been a good game, albeit not full of goals. And a lot of people look at this and go, oh, well, surely it's been boring. But you can get good, really tight games with just the one goal in it, or really tight affairs. And this has been a good battle. Liverpool have been dominant over the course of the 73 minutes that we've played, although there's a clash of heads here between Ekitike and Alderete. They're both seemingly okay. Yeah, they both look okay, but clash that the referee has to make sure they're both fine before he restarts the game, and they both seem to be that way. But as I said, of the 73 minutes so far, Sunderland have probably had, over the course of the 73 minutes, probably at 8 minutes where they've been on top and pressing Liverpool. The first couple of minutes of the game, and then the few minutes after Liverpool scored, it's probably been Sunderland's two best spells of possession and threat. Other than that, it's been a lot of Liverpool play, it's been a lot of Liverpool possession and a lot of Liverpool threat, but doesn't always mean what the final result is going to be. Oh, loose ball by Alderete. Ekitike feeds it through. Salah at the byline. Just about kept it in, but nicely intercepted by Alderete, who stepped forward and is skipping into midfield. Ferris, a little too physical. Gives away the foul. Liverpool going to make another change here. Cody Gakpo's going to be coming off, and Curtis Jones is going to come on in his place. Gakpo again's had a good game for Liverpool off that left-hand side. Really, a real key threat in that first half, in creating a lot of the chances. And Curtis Jones on in his place. Evening, Andy. Thank you very much for joining us. And says Salah has looked better. He has. I got to say, I think all round Liverpool have looked stronger tonight. In possession, they've looked really threatening, albeit again it's in the final third. They've struggled, but we talk about key moments, and a set piece can be the difference between winning and losing in these tight games. At the minute, Liverpool winning that battle in terms of they've scored from a set piece. And here's another issue for Liverpool. Robertson's gone down. He looks okay, but in a bit of pain there. The Scotsman. We'll see it again. Him and Mukiele colliding a little bit. Oh, maybe just gets a little bit of Robertson. Oh yeah, he does, Mukiele. Accidental completely, but Robertson's a tough cookie. He can ride through those physical battles. Mukiele breaking towards the area, and the shot well over the crossbar. In the end, he does really well in the build-up, working his way into the area from the throw-in, but he drags Salah out, leaves the space inside to Salah, pushes Robertson on and leaves the gap in behind. It's really well worked by Mukiele initially, but then the shot comes and it really puts to shame the build-up. Allison trying to find Salah just a little bit over the head of the Egyptian, but nicely worked by McAllister, who fed it beautifully towards Ekitike. A little bit of patience as he gives it back to Gomez. It goes back to Konate. Allison played up to Jones. Now Verts. Van Dijk trying to feed it in behind. Ekitike made the run off that left again, and here he is, Ekitike. He's got options. He tried to find Salah. Well cleared by Alderete. As Verts has given away a free kick on Trey Hume. It's going to be another Sunderland free kick, but stat for Mo Salah. He breaks records galore. Well, he's now joint with Stephen Gerrard for the most assists in Liverpool's Premier League history. 92 for Salah. Stephen Gerrard and Mo Salah top of that list now. because he got the assist for Van Dijk's goal for Liverpool's goal of the night. Enzo Lefebvre. All in behind, nicely guided by Konate, stepped across well. Blocked that through ball, and now the ball played to Salah. Finds Weerts. Has he got an option? He's going to just feed it out to the left side for Robertson. He's got options in the middle. Robertson's cross. Ekitike's header is wide. Good ball, good idea, good move, but lacking the finish. Liverpool could put this game to bed, and Robertson's ball, whether Ekitike was onside, he might have just been, and he directs it just wide of that left post. If there's one weakness, and I've got to say I don't want to criticise Ekitike this season, but if there is to be one little weakness and something he really needs to work on, it's his headers. He wasn't too far away that time, but he's got the height and the real dominance in the box if he wants to, and a number of occasions we've seen him this season in heading situations that he's not really done enough and well of. And ultimately, on that occasion, that was just wide. And Sunderland going to make a triple change here. Their first substitutions of the game. And I'll tell you the triple change in a second. And I can tell you Romain Mundel, Luciel Gertrude and Chemsdin Talby are all coming on. And they're replacing Omar Alderete, Nilsson Angulo, and the third change I'm not too sure of, it's Trey Hume. So Trey Hume, Nilsson Angulo and Omar Alderete all off, and Chemsdin Talby, Romain Mundel and Luciel Gertrude all on. Of course, we talked before the game about Gertrude could have been a Liverpool player. Some link late in the January transfer window that Liverpool were trying to do a deal to get his loan spell at Sunderland expired and then joined Liverpool on loan to the end of the season, Gertrude, but a deal couldn't be really achieved, and ultimately he stays at Sunderland until the end of the season at least. Luciel Gertrude, who on loan from RB Leipzig, would have added to a really rich Dutch cohort at Liverpool. Van Dijk, Gravenberch and Gakpo, one of the main key Dutch players in Liverpool's team. Here's Reynaldo. Back to Gertrude. And across to Robin Roos. Into the last 10 minutes here at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland 0, Liverpool 1. Mo Salah whipping in, Virgil van Dijk heading in. Helped on its way, albeit by Diarra, but Van Dijk credited with the goal, and rightfully so. And that is the difference between these two teams. Here's Romain Mundel breaking forward for Sunderland. He found Reynaldo on the left. Nice ball into Mundel, who continued his run, but Gomez combative well and cleared it away. Ultimately does Gomez. Taken in by Ekitike, trying to hold it up. Ultimately winning the Liverpool throw-in. It eases a little bit of pressure. A reminder for you, we have another game to come tomorrow night. Rounds off the roster of midweek fixtures in the Premier League. Brentford taking on Arsenal tomorrow, 8 o'clock on LFS. And of course, we have a big weekend of FA Cup action to come for you as well across this weekend, including we will watch Liverpool on Saturday night take on Brighton at Anfield, as well as Hull against Chelsea on Friday night, and Arsenal against I can't remember who Arsenal play. They play on Sunday. Wigan. Arsenal against Wigan on Sunday, and we conclude the weekend as Macclesfield take on Brentford on Monday night. An incredible FA Cup fourth round weekends to come. Allison's ball a little bit too ahead of Curtis Jones. He's gone for a Sunderland throw. Sunderland not too unbeknownst to late goals either this season. And Liverpool not unbeknownst to conceding late goals a lot this season. Conceded 90+ minute goals, Liverpool, to lose games for 4 times this season. That's a Premier League record. So if there is to be a team that will falter late, it is Liverpool. They've dropped 9 points from winning positions this season, Liverpool. And Sunderland have gained 16 points from losing positions. Here's Romain Mundle, steps inside Gomez. Mundle played it on, but Gomez tracked the inside runner and trying to battle, but well held on to by Le Fay, who ultimately feeds it back to his defenders. Diarra into Le Fay down the left channel. Decides to step inside, try to reverse the ball in behind. Brobbey. Van Dijk steps across to help out. Romain Mundle picks it up. Now Reynildo. Back to Mundle. Tried to cross, it was blocked. And now Curtis Jones takes it down, but ultimately not staying alive there for Sunderland. They stretch to keep possession, but Liverpool a bit untidy there. Give it away cheaply. And the crowd trying to use that as momentum. Their team can try and get back into this game late. Gertruida. Siddiqui now to Gertruida. Directly into the path of Reynildo, who's stepped further infield. Back outside to Gertruida. And right through the lines it goes and into the box. And brought down by Allison. Andy says 1-0 win at the Stadium of Light is a very good result for any team this season. Very hard to break down. Almost as hard to break as the Gunners. A win away to Sunderland. I'd take this. I think anybody would take a win away at Sunderland because no one has done it in the league this season to this point. 12 teams have come to the Stadium of Light in the Premier League this season and failed to pick up victory. Liverpool are minutes away from being the first to do that this season and inflict defeat on Sunderland at home for the first time this campaign. Albeit still a lot of time to go, but signs are positive for Liverpool, albeit we've seen their late troubles before. 5 minutes to go, plus the additional. It's Sunderland that are on the push. Liverpool leading by a goal to 0. Here's Reynildo. Across to Ballard. Mukiele. Down the right hand side, going for the deep cross and into the hands of Allison, who gathered comfortably. 250th league appearance for Liverpool for Allison this evening. Gomez down the right channel. Salah was trying to battle for the ball and ultimately pushed over the player there. Ultimately, Le Fay's going to get a free kick, and Liverpool are going to make another change. So it's going to see Federico Chiesa coming on. Actually, not just yet. They were made a different decision. They've decided to wait a little bit. Here's Romain Mundle up against Salah and Gomez. Salah there to cover, and Wirtz picks it up. Back to Gomez. Angled into a tough position, steps back inside, and back to Allison, who pumps long. Taken in by Salah. Flicked on to Jones. Now Ekitike's breaking a run through. Tried a little left. There's Sunderland players back. Ekitike under his right foot. Lays it off to Jones. Jones now to Wirtz. Wirtz back to Curtis Jones, who lifted it over the crossbar. Good opportunity for Liverpool again, but just couldn't really get the angle on it, Curtis Jones. He just lifted it too high. He strikes that low. It's a really threatening chance. And that action's going to be Ugo Ekitike's last attack of the game. And Ekitike again has performed pretty well up front for Liverpool. And the crowd, the travelling Liverpool fans, showing their support for their leading scorer. And Federico Chiesa is coming on in his place for the final few minutes of this one. In terms of the second half, it's been a little bit more even. Sunderland have had more possession. Both sides have had 8 shots. Compare that to the dominance that Liverpool had in the first. 14 shots to 2, but ultimately Liverpool have had the killer shot in the second. It's come off the head of Van Dijk and into the back of the Sunderland net. And at the moment, is handing Liverpool 3 points. Here is Chiesa into the box. Back it goes to Jones. Now Robertson stepping on. That's 90 seconds of the 90 minutes, and then we'll see how long's added on. I would suspect quite a few with Wataru Endo's injury earlier. He was down for quite a few minutes. There's a throw in down the left-hand side here. Back it goes to Van Dijk. He will pump it forward. Salah's the only one up there, but second ball. Battling with Gravenberch, and now Gomez steps in, heads it down in space, and keeps on the battle, Joe Gomez. He's the furthest man forward for Liverpool here on the press. And Robin Roofs clears it away. Konate wins his battle against Brobbey again. And Robertson settled inside, finds it to Curtis Jones ultimately. Gomez still further forward here for Liverpool. He tries to usher his way back into his natural right back position. Liverpool give it away though. Nicely intercepted though by Chiesa, backtracking. Gets it back for Liverpool. They're just trying to manage this to a finish now. Curtis Jones to Weerts. Back to McAllister. Now back to Virgil van Dijk. Last few seconds of the 90. See how long will be added on. And that might get some reaction, of a swell of a reaction inside the stadium if it's quite a number of minutes, which I suspect it will be. Let's find out. And 7 added minutes is the number, and that's got a rising response from the home crowd. 7 added minutes. More than enough time. Talby's cross is high, and Gomez guided it back to his goalkeeper comfortably. Nicely done by Joe Gomez there. And Allison gathers comfortably. Andy says this is a serious push for Champions League with this result as it stands. Again, as a Villa fan, I'm worried. You always have to look over your shoulder if Liverpool are behind you. Well, Liverpool have got a bit of chasing to do before they worry about Aston Villa. Chelsea and Man United are in their way at the moment for Liverpool. As it stands, if they win this tonight, they will go to 42 points, Liverpool. Chelsea will be on 44 and Man United on 45 after they both drew this midweek. And Villa winning puts them up to 50, so they're still a bit away from the other teams battling for the Champions League. And of course, as we suspect, we believe the England will get the extra spot, which means it will be top 5 for Champions League. That is the expectation. Gomez losing out and is tussled against Mundle. Good block by McAllister, who wanted the penalty here. Mundle's gone down. Referee waved it away right away. I don't think this is anything other than a good block by McAllister. A bit desperate from Romain Mundle. And Sunderland going to make another change. It's going to see the end of Diarra and the introduction of Wilson Isidore for the final few minutes. So Diarra off and Isidore on. Throw in for Sunderland here. Gertrude goes short. Gertrude will get the return ball and lift it deep, and Ballard's header is well off target, behind for the goal kick. Well, the player of the match has been given to Virgil van Dijk, according to the broadcaster. I think Konate's done well tonight as well. Defensively, Liverpool have looked really strong. I think the whole back line has looked strong. Wirtz has been a real bright spark further forward. A little less so in the second half, but definitely in the first. Same with Salah. He looked bright. Gakpo's looked strong. Ekitike as usual. Curtis Jones with a lovely bit of skill there. Ultimately, Gravenberch messes it up, but Jones did well. And he's won the ball back well here again, Curtis Jones. A nice Salah's on the breakaway. Still 4 minutes of the 7 added to go. And Salah's run into trouble in Reinildo, but again, Liverpool pick it up with Wirtz. He's got Curtis Jones. No one really tracking forward for Liverpool too much. We're just going to try and settle this. Trying to manage the game here, Liverpool. A real issue they've had all season, Liverpool. Managing the game from whatever position they're in. Look at this. Curtis Jones. 3 players converging on him. And he does a little bit flick. Beautiful little bit of skill from Curtis Jones. The audacity, though, to do something like that in this risky moment in time. Back with Alisson, the ball comes. He pumps it long, looking for Salah. Salah's got the better of his man. Salah's in one-on-one here. Well defended in the deflection. Might have took it past the goalkeeper. Robin Roofs was worried. It's gone for a corner, but a ball by Alisson. We've seen those two link up before, Alisson and Salah. This time Salah just gets the better of his man. And as he tries to step inside, Gertruda's there. And the deflection of Gertruda has Robin Roofs worried, and it goes behind for a corner, which Liverpool will be surely in no hurry to take. Is Salah to take it? Going short to Jones, and now Wirtz. There's actually no one in the box there for Liverpool, and you can understand why. Oh, Van Dijk's ball forward is very wayward. Robertson's got the better of his man, though, and dealt with it well as Chiesa tracks down the left channel. Up against Brobbey, who's trying to battle for it back, as is Mukiele. And he's done well against Chiesa there, Mukiele. Liverpool pressing on here to try and keep Sunderland under pressure. Roofs guide him around his man. He just gets it away. Robin Roofs, he was under immense pressure there, and Liverpool have got a little bit loose in the middle. There's a strong challenge by McAllister, sees it out for the throw. See it here, Robin Roofs sends Curtis Jones, and then he waits for the ball again and just about gets it away. Does Roofs. Jones wasn't too far away. In the end, as Reinildo's in a little bit of pain here. A little bit hobbly. Let's come all the way back here with Roofs again. 1.5 minutes to go. Konate won his header. Flicked forward by Chiesa. Salah was the target. Again, Curtis Jones has brought it down in the middle, but a little bit outnumbered as McAllister's ball takes a deflection. Finds its way to Robertson, and now Wirtz. And back to Robertson. Drifting infield space here for Robertson. Finds it on to Jones. Takes the first touch. Flicks it into Salah. Salah! Just wide of the post. Very easily could have been 2. Beautiful again from Liverpool. Patience, but potent at the same time. And a little bobble from Curtis Jones to find Salah. Little lob ball. And Salah took the strike with his right foot. Across goal. Just wasn't far away from that left post. And that could have been 2-0. That would have been game over. But now Sunderland have got a free kick around about the halfway line with 30 seconds to go. It's going to be one time. It's going to be now. If they're going to get it. And there's going to be one last roll of the dice for the home team. Roofs with a long kick. Konate went down, and that's going to be a free kick. Ballard committing the foul, wanting and claiming that it wasn't, as he would do. And the referee was quite confident Van Dijk was pulled down. And a free kick to Liverpool. Maybe Liverpool have just done enough to get over the line. It will be a huge result. And it is. The final whistle goes at the Stadium of Light. And for the first time this season, Sunderland are beaten on home turf. Inconsistent Liverpool have pulled off a perfect result. A victory and a clean sheet. All courtesy of their captain, Virgil van Dijk, with his header from a Salah corner. They dominated the first half. It was more even in the second, but as I said, Liverpool had the killer shot to get the winner. And Sunderland's unbeaten home run comes to an end after 13 games. 12 they'd gone unbeaten, and in game 13 it was unlucky number 13 for Sunderland at home this season. But Liverpool make a good push, a big victory that pushes them right back into the coattails of Chelsea and Man United in the chase for Champions League football. And a big result for Liverpool after what has been a topsy-turvy last few games in the Premier League, and not the start to 2026 they would have wanted. And you got to say, they came and they conquered tonight against a really difficult team in Sunderland, who did their ever hardest to fight and give Liverpool a real tough night. But in the end, it was the set piece set up by Salah, finished by Van Dijk, that gifts Liverpool 3 points at the Stadium of Light. Final score, it's finished Sunderland 0, Liverpool 1. And there it is, the final result and all the results of tonight's games. Aston Villa won by a 1-0 against Brighton. Despite leading 2-0, Crystal Palace were beaten 3-2 by Burnley at Sellers Park. It finished 3-0 to Manchester City in a pretty comfortable night at home against Fulham. And it finished goalless between Forest and Wolves. Forest not quite getting themselves away from danger just yet. They were held to a goalless draw by bottom side Wolves. And Liverpool edged out Sunderland to put pressure back on Man United and Chelsea above them, who both dropped points this midweek. Let's have a look at the table, and with just one more game to come this weekend, this midweek, shall I say. Brentford taking on Arsenal tomorrow, so they've both still to play, but Arsenal with a 6-point gap at the top after City's win earlier. Villa also winning, they close up to 50 points. That hasn't updated actually, that table. It's a 3-point gap for Arsenal going into tomorrow night's game, not 6. That hasn't updated. Nonetheless, I can explain it to you anyway if it hasn't updated. Anyway, it is 53 points that Manchester City are on. Arsenal on 56. Then come Villa on 50 in third. Man United in fourth on 45 points. Then come Chelsea on 44 and Liverpool on 42. Brentford are still in the mix here. Brentford are on 39. If Brentford win by 2 goals or more tomorrow, albeit it's a tough ask against Arsenal, but if they do that, they will go above Liverpool. Then come Everton, Bournemouth, Newcastle make up the top half. Sunderland just drop into the bottom half with that defeat to Liverpool tonight. Go behind their local rivals in Newcastle. Fulham, then Crystal Palace, come Brighton. Leeds putting themselves away from the bottom 3. They're on 6 points, clear of the relegation zone. Spurs only 5 clear of the drop zone on 29. Forest on 27, and then come West Ham on 24. Burnley now on 18 after their victory tonight, and Wolves on 9, which means that only none of the bottom 4 lost this midweek, and only one of the bottom 6 fell to defeat, and that was Spurs this midweek, to just tell you the very least. But that is it from us tonight. A reminder for you, Brentford against Arsenal is our feature game tomorrow, our only game in the Premier League to round off match day 26. But thank you very much for your company tonight. It was Virgil van Dijk's header that secured victory for Liverpool, and a big one at that. The first time this season Sunderland will be beaten at home at the hands of Liverpool in game number 13. Unlucky for some. Good night.